The rain clung to the windows of the courthouse as Amina Cole, 32, walked out with the final divorce papers in her trembling hand. She had imagined freedom would feel lighter, sweeter. Instead, it felt like a bruise on her chest, tender and humiliating. Her marriage had been 3 years of trying, forgiving, and hoping against logic. Malik had betrayed her in ways she no longer had the strength to recount. But it was over now. She pulled her coat tighter as the cold wind scraped her cheeks. She didn't cry, not because she didn't feel like it, but because she had cried enough for a lifetime. Amina? She stiffened. She hadn't expected to hear that voice. When she turned, she saw Elias Knight standing beside a sleek black car. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a face cut from angles and shadow, Elias was one of the most powerful young billionaires on the West Coast. People recognized him everywhere, except when he hid in plain clothes like he did now, hands tucked into the pockets of a charcoal coat. He was also her older brother's closest friend since childhood. "What are you doing here?" she asked, trying to mask her mortification. Her life was falling apart. The last thing she needed was Elias witnessing it. "Your brother told me," Elias replied, his voice low but gentle. "He wanted to come, but he's stuck in the air." So, his gaze dipped to the envelope in her hand, then back to her eyes. "I came." Amina looked away. "You didn't have to." "I know," Elias murmured. "But I wanted to." His words settled heavily between them, warm and confusing. "Come on," he said softly. "Let me drive you home." She should have refused. She should have kept her pride wrapped around herself like a shield. But she was exhausted, bone-deep exhausted, and the idea of being alone in an empty apartment made her stomach twist. So she nodded. Elias's car smelled like cedar and something faintly smoky. She sank into the leather seat, staring out at passing streets and wet sidewalks. Every mile put distance between her and the courthouse, but her heart didn't loosen. Elias drove in quiet, the kind of quiet that didn't feel heavy or judgmental. When he parked in front of her building, he stepped out and opened the door for her. "You don't have to walk me up," she protested. "I know," he repeated softly, "but I'm going to." Inside, her apartment greeted them with its stillness. She dropped her purse onto the couch and leaned her forehead against the wall. A moment later, she felt Elias step behind her, not too close, not touching. Just present. "Do you want to talk?" he asked. "No," she said honestly. "If I start, I won't stop." "Then don't talk." His voice was quiet. "Just let someone be here." Her breath shuddered. And just like that, her tears, tired, embarrassed, but real, cracked through. She pressed her palms to her eyes, but Elias gently caught her wrists. "Amina," he murmured, guiding her hands down. She tried to turn away, but he stepped in front of her, lifting her chin carefully. "You don't have to hide with me." His tenderness undid her more deeply than her ex-husband's betrayal ever had. Elias stayed for hours, making tea she barely sipped, sorting through things she didn't realize she had left scattered. He took out the trash, fixed a loose cabinet door, and refolded blankets she hadn't touched in days. He didn't pity her, he simply cared. But the night didn't truly shift until she asked, "Why are you being so nice to me?" Elias paused. His jaw flexed the way it always did when he was deciding whether to tell the truth or bury it. "Because I care about you," he said. "You're my brother's friend," she replied, though her voice lacked conviction. "That's not why I'm here," he said quietly. There was something in his eyes, something deep, aching, and unguarded. Amina swallowed. "Elias, what are you saying?" He took a slow breath, but his eyes never left hers. "I've been in love with you for years." Her world stilled. Elias continued, his voice steady but raw. "Long before you married him. Long before you even noticed I existed. And after you married him. I tried so hard to bury it. I told myself you were happy. That he would treat you the way you deserved. He didn't," she whispered. "I know," he breathed, pain flickering through his expression. And every time I saw you hurting, I wanted to step in. But I had no right. Amina's legs felt weak. She lowered herself onto the couch. Elias stayed standing, as if he worried coming closer might break her further. You should have told me, she whispered. You were married, he said simply. And I never wanted to be a reason you doubted your vows. Even if he didn't honor them. Silence stretched, warm and uncomfortable and intimate all at once. Amina shook her head, stunned. Elias. I just got divorced. My life is a mess. I'm not asking you for anything, he replied instantly. Not a relationship. Not feelings. Not decisions. His voice softened. I just want you to know. You deserve to know when someone treasures you. Tears surged again, but these were different. Softer. Confused. Elias knelt in front of her, gentle but determined. You don't have to love me back, he said, or even think about it. I'm here as long as you need. As a friend. As your brother's friend. As whatever you want me to be. Amina whispered the truth that had been buried beneath her pain. I don't know what I want. That's okay, Elias murmured, brushing a tear from her cheek. You don't have to know today. His thumb lingered for a moment longer than necessary, and her breath caught. Days passed. 1 day became 3. 3 became a week. Elias visited almost every evening, sometimes with food, sometimes with silent company, sometimes with gentle conversation. He never pushed. Never hinted. Never dipped into romantic territory unless she led the way. But Amina slowly began to see the pieces she had missed for years. How Elias remembered her favorite teas. How he looked away every time she walked into a room at family events. How he disappeared whenever Malik raised his voice, as if he couldn't stand seeing her hurt. She realized then, Elias's love wasn't wild or loud. It was patient. Steady. Dangerously real. One night, after they laughed over takeout containers and bad movies, Amina found herself staring at him too long. He noticed, freezing mid-sentence. What is it? I think, she whispered, I've been trying not to see you. He swallowed hard. Amina. You've always been there, she continued, voice trembling. Quiet. Steady. Kind. And I was so busy trying to fix something broken that I didn't notice the person who wasn't hurting me. Elias's breath stopped. I'm not ready, she said honestly. But I want to be. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But soon. I want to see where this goes. Elias closed his eyes briefly, like the words were both relief and temptation. When he opened them, the softness in them nearly melted her. I'll wait, he said. However long you need. Amina reached out, sliding her hand into his. For now, just stay. Elias intertwined their fingers, his thumb brushing over her skin like a promise. I'm not going anywhere. Healing wasn't fast. It wasn't easy. But Amina rose stronger, piece by piece. Elias stayed beside her, not claiming her, but standing with her until she was ready to claim him herself. And when she finally kissed him, months later, under the same rain-streaked sky where her divorce had ended, a warmth spread through her chest that felt like a beginning, not an ending. For the first time in years, Amina realized. Love didn't have to hurt. And sometimes, the person meant for you had been loving you quietly, for years.